You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building this morning, Stacey Tisdale. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Always
Stacey.
love being here. Good morning to you guys.
Now, Stacey is a friend to the room, but in particular, I needed her to come up this week because next week we have our winning plays, Black Women, Feminism, and Empowerment.
Very excited. It's an awesome event that we're doing at the Paley Center for Media in New York City. And we're really going to talk about how Black women are an incredible story of resilience, and they don't often get spoken about that way. And we have quite a lineup. We have Angela, who everyone is very thrilled is going to be here. We have feminist icon Gloria Steinem. We have Grace Vandecruz, who is an incredible sister who started her own investment company for insurance. And we have Rianka Dorsonville, who's also a voice you're going to hear from a lot in the future. She started Young Gen, which is a big financial empowerment movement for millennials. So it's going to be a great cast. It's going to be a great discussion. And what we're really trying to do is leverage the power of the media for change. We did a partnership with the Griot, so people can watch it the next day, June 27th, on thegriot.com. So this conversation is going to be in front of more than 11 million people.
Oh, wow.
And as you guys know, these conversations we have are very powerful, but the more people that can hear it, the better.
Now, I wanted to talk about feminism for a second because I did post the event on my Instagram, right? And some people's comments were a little disgusting. Now, one person said, F feminist. That was ballislife_28 said F feminist. Somebody said, don't start this can of worms. Somebody said, fight for equal rights, but not independence from men. You've fallen into the trap. So let's discuss what feminism is.
It's a work in progress, as you hear by your comments. It's very multi-dimensional. It means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And Black women also often feel alienated from the feminist movement because when it really got hot in the late 1960s, the second wave of feminism, which were really a response to protests to the Miss America pageant and the work of Simone de Beauvoir, it really turned into a white women middle class movement. That's where most of the attention was. And one of the things that's so powerful about the conversation that we're having on Monday at the Paley Center is that Gloria Steinem is really associated with the feminist movement.
Right.
And I had a conversation with her about a year ago, and she's like, oh, no. Black women started the feminist movement. And she was talking about women like Flo Kennedy, Alice Walker. But when for Black women, feminism isn't really more about leaning in, which is such a popular term now. It's more about standing up. They've really had to step outside of how we define modern day feminism and create their own path. And I think there's room for that to be the focus, really not to get caught up in the label of feminism, but really how for Black women, they've had to really chart their own course. And as Alice Walker uses the phrase, womanism. So we're trying not to get people to expand their definition of what it really is.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think that the definition is so, confusing nowadays because Amber Rose will post a picture of herself naked with a hairy vagina and say that's feminism.
That's an interesting
So it's like,
No, because I'm confused.
So it's like, what is feminine? What is it?
Did you see the picture, Stacey?
No,
that
I
they're
wouldn't.
talking
I
about?
didn't.
It went viral on social media, but
She posted a naked
she does
picture.
the slut walk, and this was her promoting that the slut walk is happening. And she did post a picture,
I always thought feminism was just women wanted to be treated equally to
right.
men, especially in corporate America and things of that nature. Now it's turned into this, I can be as sexually free as I want to
My
be.
body, my choice.
And if I want to be naked on Instagram, I can do this.
And you can't
Hashtag
judge me.
feminism. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm confused.
I'm confused. I'm being honest with you. You're confused too, Stacey. I know.
I'm not confused at all about it. It's how you're defining feminism. It's what I was talking about, that movement that started in the late 1960s that was largely focused on white middle class women. And that was about getting the right to vote. It was about equality. It was about those social issues. For Black women, it was different because you can't take race out of the equation. You can't just look at being a woman and take race out of the equation. So their issues were about things like not getting sterilized. Their issues were about, not getting raped not having things like that being legal. So what black women really had to do was, as Maggie Lena Walker, who was the first black woman to charter a bank in 1902, said, black women have to put their fists and their might together and create work for themselves. So feminism is really about creating your own opportunities. And one of the messages that I want to get out there to women is, look at black women, for example. How many of us hear that statistic that women earn 77 cents for the same job a man earns $1 for? And everybody, that's like the mantra of the feminist movement, the pay gap. Black women earn 64 cents for every dollar. But despite that, black women have created 300% of the businesses created in the United States since 1997. They are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States. So what I love about feminism, how I define feminism, is despite those challenges and despite those odds, you can become the fastest group of business owners in the United States. You're definitely doing something right. They're obviously had to step out of the way society defines them and create their own path. And that's what feminism is. It's not about getting in a club. It's not about being a group. It's about really looking at the stories of these sisters. Long before, feminism was popular, 11 years before Rosa Parks refused to get off the bus, she had started a feminist movement. She had tried to bring together black women. So this has been something that black women have been doing it themselves, not necessarily with a label. I remember my mother always telling me that, I do what I got to do. Call me a feminist, call me whatever. And that's what the definition of feminism is for black women. And that's the story that I think we all can learn from. And it's, a beautiful time right now in some ways, because in our post-Trump era, we've seen this wave of activism.
Oh, absolutely. Melinda Sarsour, Tamika Mallory, Carmen Perez.
But you can see where people's views get mixed and confused.
Yeah, because what you said is ain't got nothing to do with Amber Rose being naked on Instagram saying #feminism.
Would you say that has more to do with feminism, or that's her personal choice?
I think it's her personal choice.
That's what I'm saying. We can't fall into these traps of, using feminism as a broad term. It's very, very multi-dimensional. That means a very different thing for millennials. It means a very different thing for black women. But the message that, again, we can get from black women is that, you can't fall into the stereotypes. You can't define yourself or let the outside world define you. You have to chart your own path, and that is the ultimate feminist.
Yeah, you're
part of
absolutely
it
right.
is don't judge a woman based on, what she's wearing.
Well, see, this is the thing. When women say, don't reduce me to my body parts, and then you post a whole picture of you butt naked on Instagram, you're objectifying your own body parts.
That's a good opportunity for women to band together and say that's not feminism. That's an opportunistic, I'm not going to judge, interesting choice. But every time we see a naked woman, or every time we see a beautiful woman who's also smart, who might choose to wear whatever she might choose to wear, we get on this feminist bandwagon. Is that feminism? Is that feminism? It's got nothing to do with what the feminist movement was all about. So let's not even make that link. That was not anything to do with what
I am
people are
so glad
trying
to hear a woman say that publicly, because every time I have these conversations, because I ask questions to people, and other women that I respect say the same exact thing you just said. Like, they don't even agree with what Amber is doing.
Yeah, it's every time
under the guise of feminism.
Every time we hear something like that, that's one of the things I love about Angela, is how we focus on, when we talk about money, when we talk about women, we really focus on the positive things that women have done despite all of these challenges. I mean, black women, heads of households more than any other group, they're really making things work on all levels. So I encourage everybody out there, when conversations turn to who is wearing, who is doing, that you say, look what my sisters have done. And despite all of these odds, and that's what this movement's all about.
Mm-hmm. And I still believe in being respectful no matter what. Like, I still am respectful to Amber Rose. I don't care what it is that she decides to do. It's different than what I would choose to do. But I still don't feel like people will be like, oh, she's a hoe, she's a slut, she's this, she's that. And I don't agree with that.
I'm just tired of people, when you ask a question, they're saying you're being disrespectful.
Yes, I do too.
It has nothing to
I don't think asking a question is disrespectful, but when you put a label on somebody.
With your bush out and saying this, and then when people ask a question, it's like, oh, no, you're disrespected. No, I'm just asking a question because I honestly don't understand.
Yeah, like what y'all doing on June 26th is empowering to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I would want my daughter to be a part of. But I can see how these young girls can get confused when they have, women putting themselves naked and saying, this is empowering, me being butt naked on Instagram. And I'm like, not really.
We have to tell our young girls, particularly women of color, that what people are saying, what the hype is, what the buzz is about, women, her picture, whatever, they can't let that define who they are, and they have to hold themselves responsible for that. I've had a career as a financial journalist, and I was told time and time again by news directors, I was the most qualified candidate. You don't look like what a business news expert should look like. What can you do with that? So I remember a news director at a big network said that to me, you're the most qualified, but you don't look like a business news director. And I looked at him and I said, you're going to have to change your definition of what a business news reporter looks like. And I picked up that fight. But what I actually realized was that was a battle I was never going to win. Mm-hmm. People are going to have their stereotypes. They're going to have their opinions. It was a battle that I had to transcend.
Right.
And the more that I stepped into me, the more that I just kept focusing on the truth, what I was seeing and what I was experiencing, that's when my career really blossomed. The more I just kind of let go, and, there is something deeper in all of us than all of this stuff, and you have to go there.
Right. No, we appreciate you joining us. Tell us about the event,
and we
June
do have,
26th.
and you also put together, by the way, not to interrupt you, Envy, but just something special just for our listeners.
Yes.
What did you do?
I did. Your listeners have been nothing short of an inspiration, and they are really hungry for financial knowledge and really hungry for building wealth. So I created a webinar, which you can go to mindmoneymedia.com webinars. It's called You Don't Have to Be Rich to Invest. I have gotten thousands and thousands of requests from your audience asking them how to get involved in the financial markets. And this is a webinar. You don't have to be rich to invest, mindmoneymedia.com. And it shows you in a few minutes how you can invest as little as a few cents in a few seconds and grow your wealth.
Nice.
And I know every time we come up here, everybody talks about acorns and investing their spare change and stuff. So I really put together a webinar that helps people walk through it.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Right. And if you want to go to the actual event at the Paley Center.
Yes. We have a limited number of tickets available, and you can go to the Winning Plays website. And just for your audience, we put together a special ticket rate.
I was like, we need some discounted tickets.
I know, she needed some discounted
That's
tickets. We can put some discounted tickets. Go to winningplays.org and put in the discount code WP $75. That's winningplays.org, WP $75. You follow me on Twitter at STisdale1. There's also some discount coupons and everything, but we need everybody's support. What we're trying to do with this event is get a lot of kids, inner city kids, low-income kids in front of this audience. So I'm asking you guys to dig deep. Any little bit helps. Support us. You can text capital letters WPS to 41444, and any little bit helps. There's actually a group of about 20 kids that we're trying to get up here from Bridgeport, Connecticut. And any support you can provide would be really appreciated.
Well, thank you, Stacey. I know a lot of people always say, I want to invest, I want to learn how to do this, and they don't actually get proactive in learning how to do that. But there is a lot of information out there. And something like this and the webinar you put together and the Winning Plays panel that we have is a way for you to learn how to do that. So there's no excuse unless you don't get up off your butt and do what you got to do.
You know what I meant to ask too, Stacey, as we're walking out? A lot of people, I did this recently, and I just did well. I invested with a bunch of friends. Like, we all put up a little bit of money.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Investment clubs, investment
and we
groups.
Bought a property in Jersey. And I actually forgot about it. We did it about 10 years ago, and it just cashed out yesterday. And it was amazing because I really forgot about it. It wasn't a lot of money, but when you have 10 people put in, let's say, $10,000 each, it was able to buy the property, hold the property down, and we sold it 10 years later, and it made so much profit. Is there any place where people can go into investment clubs and say, okay, let's do this together? Because, maybe my $10,000 wouldn't be able to buy me a property, but if 10 of us put up $10,000, now we can buy a property. And then if we hold it for 10 years and we make $600,000 or $700,000, but that $10,000 just turned into 60,
It's awesome. Investment clubs are a great thing to do, and doing things as a collective. like lending circles. All these things are great things to do.
Is there any place that people can find that particularly?
There's an investment clubs group. It's like almost like a think tank for investment clubs, and just do a simple search on it. From all of our conversations, I think we should talk about putting together an investment club for the people that are listening here. But the main thing to be careful of when you do investment clubs is who you're doing it with.
Yes, you have to know these people and trust them.
Know who you're doing it with. And just like we're talking about, you know, with Acorns, with mutual funds, you know, with companies like TD Ameritrade, where you can open stock market accounts for as little as $50. You can do it as a collective too. You can do it as a group too. And what's great about those is, I know just like Angela has a book club, getting together, having those conversations, figuring out what to invest in. That's really great. And I'm really happy to hear that happened for you and your friends.
Yeah, well, thank you again. We appreciate you for joining us. Stacey Tisdale, it's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.